accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure.
This may be the last time we see our legend, the greatest fighter of this generation. I told y'all back then that Bud would beat Floyd Mayweather. Y'all didn't believe me.
He can do it. But what I'm saying is, if you have a victory over this man now, just does it, what for what? Terence Crawford, we know what you are.
Boxing pros explain why Terence Crawford is now considered the GOAT after his historic win over Canelo Alvarez. Many believe his ability to rise through weight classes and still dominate shows a rare greatness that sets him apart from past champions. Robert Garcia echoed this view by saying Crawford has achieved more than Floyd Mayweather in this regard. He highlighted how Crawford convincingly won 9 to 10 rounds and showed a relentless hunger that Canelo could not match. Garcia stressed that Mayweather never attempted such a challenge, making Crawford's triumph even more remarkable in boxing history.
Has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't. I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three division undisputed. He wanted to go. He wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing if Canelo doesn't have any changes. If he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes.
Hackett reacted strongly to the idea of Terence Crawford needing another big fight to prove his greatness, especially when Turki Alshik suggested a matchup with David Benvitz. Hackett insisted that Crawford has already secured his place in boxing history by moving up in weight to challenge and convincingly defeat Canelo Alvarez, something no one believed was possible in such a dominant fashion. For Hackett, the win was not just another victory. It was a career-defining achievement that stamped Crawford's name among the sport's all-time greats. He emphasized that Crawford's leap from welterweight to super middleweight to conquer one of the most respected champions of this era was unprecedented. In his eyes, this moment alone secures Crawford's legacy, and he does not need to fight Benvitz or anyone else to validate what he has already.
The evil Knievel effect, like, all right, you jumped over 3 buses. Let's see if you could do 10 buses. You know what I'm saying? He trying to test his limits, and they think the money is going to keep getting him out there. That fight is pointless. The fight is pointless because nobody ever talked about that fight until now. And then I don't feel like Bud needs a Benavidez. And then that would mean Benavidez would have to go into a different body and bring himself back down to 68 when he's already getting settled in at 175. And, you know, I believe Benavidez has some tough tasks in front of him that he want to conquer before even talking like that. I don't even think he want to talk like that because there's really no point. He wanted the Canelo fight because Canelo was the man at 68. He was at 68. I don't think he cared about fighting Bud, and I don't think Bud cared about fighting Benavidez. That's just Turkey trying to pull rank. Turkey trying to show he got a golden arm. You know what I mean?
I understand that Turkey likes to make these big grand events, but there's a boxing aspect to this shit too. Like some stuff gotta make boxing sense. Yeah. Bringing the dude down that's been comfortable at 75, bringing him back down to 68, and then having him fight a dude that just jumped 3 weight classes in 2 fights that started his career off at 35.
Right.
Like, no, bro. No, man.
Yeah, I don't want to see that fight. There's no point. There's no point. Like I said, Bud need to just go get a line of suits. You know what I'm saying? Get ready to just start talking about this shit.
What kind of suits, though?
I don't know. I don't know what's the best suits right now.
Show as the Adult described Crawford's achievement as one of the most remarkable single-fight accomplishments in modern boxing. He marveled at the way Crawford steadily climbed from welterweight to middleweight and finally to 168 pounds, executing his plan with flawless preparation to conquer Canelo Alvarez. According to him, this was not a case of stumbling into victory, but a carefully orchestrated rise where every step led to this ultimate challenge. Showbiz emphasized that the fight looked like it had been written in stone. Crawford was ready, polished, and sharper than ever. He declared that Crawford does not need to prove anything further because this was the fight of fights. For Showbiz, the boxing world has now seen enough to close the chapter on Crawford's greatness, as his dominance against Canelo demonstrated every aspect of what makes a fighter legendary. He suggested that at this point, nobody needs to challenge him further because Crawford has already shown more than enough to validate his place at the top of the sport.
Thoroughly just knew there was no way Terence Bud Crawford beat Saul Canelo Alvarez at 168. Canelo Alvarez was the super middleweight undisputed champion and younger. Terence Crawford was 26 at lightweight. Canelo Alvarez at 26, what was he, a middleweight? Terence Bud Crawford just grew to 154 at 36 years old. Canelo hasn't been able to make 154 since he was a baby. Terence Bud Crawford jumped up from welterweight to super middleweight to beat one of the greatest fighters of all time, to become 3-time undisputed in 3 different weight classes. Enough said.
Enough said.
It shed light on his victory against Errol the Truth Spence. That is for damn sure. Just the way he dominated him. Errol Spence was in there like, what the? If Canelo is saying there wasn't shit I can do in there, Errol Spence had to have been in there like, holy shit. It brings light to his resume. Everybody ducked him. We kind of knew that Bob Arum had Manny Pacquiao avoid Terence Crawford. I can't say Manny Pacquiao avoided Terence Crawford, but Bob Arum definitely did. PBC, welterweights in the PBC all avoided him. I am here to give credit to Terence Crawford for being one of the most ducked fighters in history. So you cannot any longer blame his resume, his greatness, and look at his resume when we all know, genuinely, we have to be genuine, that he is one of the most ducked fighters of all time, like Bob Foster, like Black Murderers Row, Charlie Burley and Eddie Booker and all those guys. Listen, Terence Crawford by himself is Black Murderers Row of this era. Now, do I need Terence Bud Crawford to continue fighting? Hell no. For what? If you beat Terence Crawford now, what do you want him to do? Strip down to 160, lose that muscle mass he has, and be a little bit. We saw that with Roy Jones Jr., but he can do it. He's the everything man. He can do it. But what I'm saying is, if you have a victory over this man now, just doesn't, what for what?
Tim Bradley has long championed Terence Crawford's greatness, and after this fight, he felt entirely vindicated. He reminded fans that he had always called Crawford the baddest man on earth, and the way Crawford handled Canelo Alvarez proved him right. Bradley emphasized that many doubters believed Crawford was too small to compete at the higher weights. Yet he not only competed, but dominated with shocking ease. He pointed out how effortless the performance looked, as if Crawford was sparring rather than fighting one of the sport's most dangerous punchers. In Bradley's view, this win pushes Crawford into a realm beyond most champions, even daring to compare him favorably against Floyd Mayweather. He argued that Crawford has now reached a point where the conversation about the greatest boxer of all time must include his name at the very top. For Bradley, this victory was not just about beating Canelo. It was about redefining what it means to be pound for pound #1 and possibly the best fighter the sport has ever seen.
Please subscribe my YouTube channel, Boxing Fight Scope, for latest news of boxing.